Hello and welcome to Fourth Coach Conversations, episode 17. Who knew? This is a series brought to you by D1Baseball.com. I am your host, Michael Patrick Rooney. Let us thank our presenting sponsor. That would be Netting Professionals. Netting Pros specializes in the design, fabrication, and installation of custom netting for college baseball programs all around the country. Next time your field or facility needs something new, make sure to check out Netting Professionals. These guys at Netting Pros are absolutely amazing, great people, great product. They're incredible at what they do. And arguably, most importantly, they love our sport. They love college baseball. They're incredible supporters of our sport. They've been with us since episode 1 in October, and can't thank these guys enough for helping us make this show possible. So, gentlemen, happy Sunday. The final episode of season 1. It sounds like we're going to be on Netflix someday, which is kind of cool. I mean, we're not literally going to be on Netflix. It sounds like a Netflix series. But let me do just an explanation of what we're doing. So these 17 shows have been about promoting these guys that are in the volunteer position in college baseball. We have a really wonky thing in our sport where the entry level on the field role is a volunteer, meaning these guys can't be paid by their school, no benefits, none of those health benefits that are so important when we get jobs. These guys cannot off-campus recruit, which is really difficult for them networking themselves and promoting themselves for their next job. I learned a month ago, these guys can't even be paid by their school to go to a convention and get better at the craft. So this is for people that really want it. And what's ironic is these guys are the fourth coach. They are on the field instructing Division I athletes. And so it's a dumb rule, if I'm being honest. It's something we want to go away. But in the meantime, these guys are the lifeblood of our profession. I mean, these are the next young stars in college baseball. And I think about some of the best coaches we have, the Eric Backiches, the Jim Schlossnagels. All these guys cut their teeth as volunteer coaches. And so anyway, this has been great. I've been thrilled to get to know these guys, and these 5 gentlemen here have tremendous resumes as well. So, gentlemen, that's enough explanation. The time will go really, really quickly. So let's jump right in. TC, I'm going to start with you. What I want you guys to do is introduce yourself, name, where you are, and just bullet point your resume, where you grew up, where you played, where you've coached, how long you've been at your current stop. TC, kick us off.
Yeah, Terrence Conley, originally from New York, went to high school up there, and went to school at UNCW, where I'm actually at coaching now. Great place, love the beach. It's a great place to play baseball. I take pride in it here. After I was playing here, I played for 2 seasons with the D-backs, and then I started coaching at Chipola Junior College with Jeff Johnson. Matt Williams, the pitching coach that was at UNCW, he's now at Liberty, helped set that one up for me. So I spent 2 years there, recruiting coordinator there. Time came June 2020. Billy Godwin was at UNC Greensboro. He needed a volunteer coach. I actually went there. I spent a season with them. And then this past summer, I couldn't keep affording to be in this volunteer role. So I was actually teaching last semester at a high school in the Wilmington area. Job came open at UNCW. Coach Hood gave me a call, and I'm beyond excited that he gave me this opportunity to be back in my alma mater. I take pride in it, so I appreciate him.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Terrence, follow-up questions. First of all, had no idea you're a New Yorker. So, come on, let's go. Where? Tell me, where in the state? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Long Island.
Oh, sweet. Okay. So how did you get from Long Island to Wilmington? I don't recall them recruiting a bunch of northern kids, tell me the story of how you got to Wilmington.
So I was playing on a team. We were in Georgia or North Carolina, and I fooled Coach Hood that day. I squared up a double, put a bunt down, stole base, and that was probably the last stolen base he ever saw me have. But he thought he liked me, kept going, and kind of just ended up from there.
That's awesome. Now, what was your primary position at Wilmington? What did you play the most?
My freshman year, I played shortstop. My sophomore year, they realized I wasn't shortstop, moved me over second, and then they realized I wasn't a middle guy. They moved me to the corners for my last 3 years.
Love it. And if I'm not mistaken, you were either the all-time hit by pitch leader at Wilmington, or you're in that class. I'm curious, was that, I'm all in on that. I told you before we went on air. Was that like kind of your idea to because your career on base percentage is super high too. Was that your idea to be on top of the plate as part of your offensive mechanism, or how'd that come about?
It was just something that was there. I grew up, my Dad taught me how to be tough, and he said if the ball comes near, just kind of wear it. And I
Love
did
it.
whatever to help the team win. And I knew I wasn't the greatest hitter in the world, but if I can get on base, we had a lot of other guys in this lineup that could have drove me in. So whatever I could have done to help.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, what were you were there 13 to 17 in Wilmington?
13 to 17, I had Tommy John in 16. So I missed most of that season.
And what were the 3 regionals you got to play in when you were there?
So we played UVA in 2013, LSU in 2015, and South Carolina in 2016.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, last question, and then we'll keep moving. So Chipola it's not, if people that know college baseball know Chipola and Jeff Johnson, it's just like a dynamite program. Who were, I'm curious, who were some of the better players you had at Chipola? I mean, there's always a zillion kids drafted out every year, but who were some of the names?
There's a ton down there. Coach Jay does a great job down there.
Sure does.
Ivan Johnson, middle infielder, switch hitting guy, second baseman. He was there for a little bit. Andrew Moore, who was there. Andrew Baker, who started with us, went to, I believe, Arkansas, came back to us. Those are probably 3 of the better guys from down there. But the list goes on. I'm missing people.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Ivan Johnson was, he signed out of Chipola. Is that correct? He didn't go back to a 4-year? Yeah. Got it. Yeah, gosh, I remember, I mean, obviously it's a big jump to try and play at the SEC, in the SEC as a true freshman. And so I remember him going down there and just killing it. That's awesome. Love it. Coach Sizemore, go ahead.
Hey guys, everyone. Justin Sizemore here. Originally from Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's tough last week for us.
Yes.
Grew up a mile away from Lambeau Field. Attended at Schwabenheim High School. Played multiple sports there. Ended up really enjoying baseball, I think, the most. And am lucky enough, I was originally going to play Division III in Wisconsin, and my dad got offered a job by FPL in Florida. So I was like, hey, you want to come and look at schools in Florida? And I was like, yeah, let's go. So went down, attended Palm Beach Atlantic University as Division II. At that time, they were independent. They're now at the Sunshine State Conference. Walked down there my freshman year. Going into my sophomore year, Gary Carter actually got the head job there. I got to play for him for 2 seasons, which is pretty cool. He passed away going into my senior year, and Kent Bottenfield took over the reins there, and he's been there ever since. I got into coaching right after that. This is going to be my 10th year in coaching. I was at PBA for the last 9 years, and now I'm extremely happy where I'm at Gardner Webb up in Boiling Springs, North Carolina.
Gosh, that's awesome. Another Northerner. This is tremendous.
Yeah.
Hey, so Justin, let me ask you this. So Gary, the kid Carter, was your coach at PBI. I had no idea.
Yeah. Crazy.
What was he like? What was he, what was his, I mean, I saw that the 30 for 30 on the Mets, and it was amazing how every player pointed to him as just the leader of that team.
He was, it's wild. I mean, cause I got to play for Gary for 2 years, and then for Kent and who's also an all-star. When you play for guys like that, their understanding of the game, like, is just so few and far between. Just the management style and all that kind of stuff. A lot of it was old school, but he was extremely caring and stuff. And he was at PBA as a Christian school, so it was a perfect fit for him. I know he was with the ragtag group in '86, especially. And he was kind of the guy that kind of kept everybody in line and stuff. But he was intense, man. But the knowledge was out of control. So.
That's awesome. Hey, and so tell me if I'm reading this right in your resume, that you played for first base primarily, but it feels like you've really sunk your teeth into catching and the instruction of catchers. Do I have that part right?
Yeah. So I caught my first 2 years of school, and just eventually just didn't have the arm for it. I could swing it a little bit, and got the opportunity to stay on and work my way up into a starting role going into my senior year playing first base. And over the last 5 or 6 years, I've really taken I caught my whole life. I was the only kid who wanted to put gear on growing up in Green Bay. So, and in high school, I caught all through high school. Extremely average player, but I just love the position. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I really started taking kind of a liking and a knack for catching specific, and that's my passion, man. I live and breathe with it, and social media and stuff, and all the stuff that's kind of going out with all the new mainstream and catching and analytics, man, it's right up my alley. So I really enjoy that part of coaching
Love
for
it.
sure.
Hey, let me one more question for you. So I was looking at your Twitter timeline, and you had mentioned how you had done an analytics camp recently, and
Mhm.
that is so. I mean, it makes total sense to me. But could you give me an overview? Like, how did you guys do that? How did you kind of
So
implement analytics into a camp?
So generally, when most universities kind of run prospect camps, or we'll have team camps, or whatever the case is, where they'll bring kids in. My favorite thing is player development, bar none. Like,
Hmm.
that's my passion. I love getting one on one with guys and breaking things down. And so we have a staff here that we have a guy who runs all of our analytics. Man, he kills it. And like, there's stuff that I'm still learning that I have no idea about. So we kind of had a camp idea where we wanted to flip it a little bit, and instead of it being straight recruiting or straight prospect, we kind of wanted to be able to utilize our time getting one-on-one. We had about 20 guys show up, but it was about 4 hours, a little bit shorter of a camp, but we got to give everybody Rapsoda reports, kind of get one-on-one with most of the athletes, position specific. We had 4 or 5 guys working the camp, so it was extremely fun and extremely, like, that's stuff that I miss, like being able to do that with especially younger guys in high school, since we're so limited. So it was
Sure.
it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool for sure.
I love it. Hey, one final question. So on your staff at Gardner Webb, so if I'm doing my math correctly, Coach Chester and Anthony Marks are both Pittsburgh natives. Do I have that
Oh yeah,
right?
they are ride or die for sure.
So we got heavy Steelers influence and heavy Packers influence
In
in
2011
GW.
we got them, so we're
Yeah.
good.
Yes. That's awesome. I
No, but
love it.
they're the man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Those guys are great. Hey, Jeremy, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Jeremy Colona. I'm volunteer here at Missouri State. I grew up actually here in Springfield, where Missouri State is located. As we mentioned earlier before we got going on this, I lacked the skill to play here, but man, it was my dream to be a part of this program and the history that Keith Gutten's built here. Out of high school, I went to a junior college in St. Louis, St. Charles Community College. Enjoyed 2 great years there. Found a lot about myself and what I want to do with baseball. Moved on to an NAI in Kansas City. Another great experience. It was Avila University. Got in touch with a lot of good baseball people and realized that coaching is what I wanted to do. I actually had the chance to play for a couple at the time Missouri State coaches in the summer, Tyler Jeske and Jeff Jimenez, and they pushed me to get into coaching and pushed me to be a part of this program once my playing career and education were done. So, following my playing career and a brief 1.5 year stint as the pitching coach at Avila, Coach Gutten offered me a spot down here, and really haven't looked back. It's been a great 18 months here. Looking forward to getting this season going. Part of doing what I do here, I ran the kind of a small summer league, the Show Me Collegiate League, as part of my volunteer role here. It was nice being a part of the administrative side, but man, the coaching aspect's way more fun than the administration.
Yeah. So the Show Me League is like that was kind of like Coach Gutten's idea as a way to generate revenue for the program, or how did the Show Me League come about?
I think the first year was about 2016, and it was worked where the commissioner of the league was always the volunteer here at Missouri
Right.
State. It was a built-in way to get the volley a paid job, and it was my turn last year to take a part of it, and it was a really good experience, and learned a lot of things I'd changed, but a lot of things I felt like I did well with it.
How many teams you guys have?
We had 7 teams last year, all
Awesome.
fairly local, but it was a good experience. Some good young developmental baseball for sure.
That's great. So Jeremy, you mentioned the tradition of Missouri State. I mean, I think, we have these brands now, Power Five, mid-major, but so let's call Missouri State a mid-major for just the sake of classification. But I mean, Omaha in 2003, super regionals in 15 and 17, first round picks. I mean, so my question is for you, like, who was there one, even back when it was called Southwest Missouri State, was there one team that you grew up with, or was there one player? Was it Brad Ziegler? Was it Ryan Howard? Who were your guys at Missouri State?
Frankly, it was my junior year of high school. The year they went to the regional in Miami, the 2012 team,
Mm-hmm.
and frankly, my guy that I looked up to on the team is the guy I share an office with, Nick Petrie, obviously Louisville Slugger Player of the Year that year,
Love it.
Golden Spikes runner-up. He was the guy I looked up to, and it's awesome to be a part of just his daily life and be able to work with him and others, just like our hitting coach Joey Hawkins, who is the shortstop on that team as well. So that was kind of my team that I can kind of shoot the crap with Coach Evans and Coach Gutten and everybody.
Got it. Awesome. Hey, and so did I see this right that Jake Berger's sister played tennis at Missouri State, and she's part of your guys' program now, or she's part of the athletic department in some way?
She was a student manager for us this fall. She's wanting to get into kind of a fellowship with professional baseball, and
awesome.
she was all business when she was here in the fall. I know she took a professional job. I don't know if it's out in the open yet with who she's with, so I'll leave it at that. But
sure,
she's legit. She proved a lot of people, including myself, that she's not just Jake Berger's sister. She can be someone in the baseball program and the baseball world.
That's awesome. Does she want to do something like on the field or more something like in a front office scenario?
More front office, scouting, something along that line. Joey Hawkins obviously has a ton of connections in the professional realm, and he's helped her with that. Gotcha.
Hey, one final thing, Jeremy, I know you guys lost your coach at Avila, and everything I've read about him is it was just glowing. Like, he seemed amazing. But yeah, I'd love for you to kind of just describe who he was.
Yeah, Darryl Cronk, man, it was tough. It was tough knowing that perfectly healthy 46-year-old man had passed. But he was a really good man. I mean, he was a good coach, but he was a really, really good man to not just myself, but every single player that was part of the program. Seeing the national outpour for him just at a small NAI was really, really heartfelt for not only us, but I know his family. And the baseball community definitely is going to miss him. I know he's with me every day. I wouldn't be where I'm at without him taking a chance on me. So he was just a really good dude.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. So, hey, I did have one final question for you. So, do I have this right that when you were at Avila, you caught and you pitched? You did both?
I did do that. I was a good defender behind the plate, just like Justin was saying. Catching's my passion, but I was a little light with the stick, so they got me on the mound. And honestly, I think it gave me a good perspective of the game in general. Helped myself not only catching, but just good perspective on the game, looking at it from both sides.
Yeah. Do you have a preference as far as coaching, instructing? Do you have more passion for the pitching side or the catching side or position player side, or it's all good?
All good, but my main passion is catching. That's who I primarily work with down here in Springfield.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. Great stuff. CV, go ahead.
All right, there we go. My name is Chaneng Varela. I grew up in Southern California, played baseball at Chino High School. After high school, I ended up going to Riverside City College, played for Dennis Rogers. My freshman year, sophomore year, ended up redshirting. And after that, I ended up transferring to Orange Coast College in 2015, where we won the state championship. After OCC, I got a scholarship to go play at Lamar University, which is a D1 in Texas. Played there for 2 years in 16 and 17. And then after that, I planned on going to nursing school. So for the next 2 years, I was just coaching at Chino Hills High School while taking my prerequisites. And I was 2 weeks away from starting up nursing school, and Coach Altabelli at OCC called me. I was like, hey, I'd like for you to be my info coach. Well, long story short, I told him, I need to make some money. I'm 24 years old now, so I'm going to start nursing school. And he goes, I have a bunch of friends that are millionaires, but not one of them are as happy as I am. And my dad always said he wished he would have coached. So it was always in the back of my mind. I said, if anyone else called me, I'd say no. But since you did, I'm in. So 2020 happened, and that was my first year there, and that stuff happened. And then so I coached there for 2 years, and this year I was back there. In September, I was already back, and I applied to a bunch of schools this summer just to try to coach and stuff. Coach Horton was trying to help me out, and coaches at OCC were trying to help me out, giving calls. And I was back there, and then randomly I got a call from the RCC coach now, Rudy Argoyes. He said, hey, are you interested in coaching at UC Riverside? They're looking for an input guy. And I said, heck yeah. So I had an interview, and the next day I got the job, and it's my first year there, and I'm loving every second of it. It's been great. Coaches are awesome. It's been a great environment. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So Chino Hills, is that where Chad Cordero pitched? Is that this?
No,
Chino?
he was at Don Lugo, which was so I went to Chino, and Don Lugo's our rival. So or about a mile away, and that's where Chad Cordero pitched. And I actually coached with Chad 2 summers ago during the pandemic. He's a great guy, great human being.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, got to play. His freshman year at Fullerton. I mean, he just showed up and was ridiculous. It was.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
and then he's in the big leagues in like 5 seconds afterwards.
yeah.
Hey, so the JC league that you played in, the Orange Empire, for us West Coasters, it's famous. I mean, this
Oh
league
yeah.
is Cypress, Riverside City, Orange Coast. I
Mhm.
mean, it's just unbelievable how good that league is.
Unreal.
So when you went from Riverside City to OCC, was that like
Mhm.
tense, or those coaches are so close that it was just like, hey, it's a better opportunity, go for it?
No, it was actually completely fine. Like everyone just likes to compete and stuff, but on the side, everyone's like really good buddies and stuff. So it ended up like just needed to change the scenery and stuff, and they understood it. And Altabelli brought me in with open arms, essentially gave me a second chance, and I had started having fun with baseball again. It had a very good year. We won state and stuff. So I mean, it was honestly the best decision I ever made. And the environment there, you're in Newport Beach, basically. I mean, everyone wants to go there for 4 years if they could, but you
Yeah.
can only go for 2. So I mean, it was honestly the best decision I ever made. But yeah, I mean, Riverside, I had a great time there as well. I mean, I learned a bunch of stuff from Dennis, Rudy,
Yep.
Coach Rolando Garza, Yoon. I mean, tremendous staff over there as well. It was a great time. But yeah, my
That's
junior
awesome.
college stay was great. Yeah.
So John Altabelli, the late John Altabelli, like legend, obviously.
Mhm.
So was Kobe Bryant like there a lot, or like once a year? Or did you get to meet Kobe Bryant?
No, I actually didn't, but he came one time. It was 2018. They were going to the state finals again. The last decade was just a dynasty, state finals almost every year. And Kobe was coaching Alto's daughter, and so right before they left, he called Kobe, "Hey, can you come?" And he gave him a pep talk. It's one of the craziest speeches I've ever seen, and he came down and all the kids were just shocked. He completely kept it a secret from everybody, and Kobe walks in and everyone just goes crazy. Oh, because Southern California, Kobe's our hero, So
Yeah.
it was
Awesome.
beautiful. But yeah, Alto, man, he's just that kind of guy, just everyone's best friend. It was pretty cool, pretty cool.
That's awesome. Hey, and so how was the adjustment from Southern California? Although you're from 3 very different parts of Southern California, it feels like.
Hmm.
But how was the adjustment to Beaumont, Texas? That must have been a little bit of a culture
Oh,
shock.
it was, it's crazy because when I was at OCC and I was going on different visits and stuff, I actually got offered by UC Riverside, which is a pretty hard school to get into. And I was at Lamar just taking my visit to go, get a nice dinner and stuff, go to Texas, not gonna lie. And I'm in the room and Coach LeBlanc, who's at UCSD now, calls me and says, "Hey, you can't get in." I'm like, "Oh my goodness." So I'm in Beaumont, Texas. There's no mountains, no nothing. It is flat as can be. And I was nervous. And I ended up being one of the greatest places ever. I built lifelong friends. I like to fish and stuff, so that was actually a great time. We got to
Oh,
go
cool.
all the football games out there. LSU, Texas, Baylor, A&M, everywhere. We got to go to all those
Awesome.
places to go and experience football. Yeah, it was fun. I loved it. I
That's
honestly loved
great.
every second of it. Yeah,
Really
that
cool.
was fun.
Very good. Coach Watt, go ahead.
Yeah, hey everybody. My name is Trey Watt, and I was born in Birmingham, Alabama. Kind of lived all over. From Birmingham, my family and I moved to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and there we went through Hurricane George, and at that point we lost everything, and we did our best to get off the island, but it took us a few years. We got off the island, we moved to the Bay Area, to Oakland. And then from Oakland, we moved up to Oregon, where I went to high school, to Walton High School. And then I went to college at Pacific Lutheran University and played for Coach Jeff Loomis, who I'm working for now. And after playing at Pacific Lutheran University, I had a stint with the Diamondbacks. And then after playing with the Diamondbacks, I took a pitching coach job at George Fox University, D3 in Newberg, Oregon. And then Coach Loomis got the job at University of Portland and asked me to help out at UP. And I'm here now, and it's been amazing.
Love it. Hey, so Trey, what ages were you when you were in Puerto Rico?
Age 9 to 12, and we were without water and power. I mean, we were pretty much homeless for almost a year.
Oh my gosh. Did you, from a baseball perspective, were you like, you grew up in Birmingham playing baseball and you liked it, and then you went to Puerto Rico, and then that just like kind of took it to the next level? Or tell me about the
Yeah.
baseball transition from Birmingham to Puerto Rico, because gosh, do they love baseball there.
Yeah. I was on Los Borinqueños, which was Team Puerto Rico, and my pitching coach was Machuga, who was like he was the pitcher of the year. I forget which year it was, but he was our pitching coach. And so playing in that atmosphere and getting to play on Roberto Clemente Stadium, and also not being able to have the excuse of, we just got hit by a hurricane, so what? We're still going to practice. We're still going to we're still going to have baseball. And that solidified my commitment to the game and love to the game.
That's awesome. Did you have a favorite Puerto Rican player when you were those ages?
Oh, I mean, yeah, obviously Roberto Clemente was just shoved down my throat. But yeah, just that style of play and that relentless pursuit to be the hardest worker on the field. It wasn't so much about being the best, but the culture was, we were going to be the hardest worker.
That's awesome. Hey, so when you were in high school in Oregon, was that during the time when when Oregon State was just blowing up, or what was your intersection with what Pat Casey accomplished at Oregon State?
Yeah, I played against all the guys that like Darwin Barney, Stutz, Gunderson, Nickerson.
Nickerson, gosh, he was so good.
Yeah, Patterson, Turpin. I mean, all those guys that were coming through at that time and era, I played against.
That's awesome. God, it's just so it's amazing. Like we forget when college sports or pro sports, when they have a really good run, that affects little kids who then pursue the sport. Thinking about Jeremy and you. Yeah, it's just so cool. Gosh, that's great. Love it. All right, very cool. By the way, Coach Watt, the Portland Pilots have, first of all, I don't know, are you guys doing the post-game interviews again this year, or did those kids graduate?
We are going to, yes.
So
the chats with Cheney, I'm sure will continue.
Oh, so good. That's good Twitter. And your guys, your hashtag Skolets, Bluff Boys. I mean, come on, really good. Well done. That's awesome. All right, Coach Conley, coming back to you. Here's what I want you guys to do. Pick one area of the game, hitting, a position, catching, pitching, recruiting, program building, whatever. You could do anything any area of college coaching. But pick the one that you're really passionate about. And I want you to try to boil your core beliefs down to 3 sentences or less. So pick an area of the game or of program building that you love. Try to give me your core beliefs in 3 sentences or less. TC, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about hitting. Love it. Love talking it. And don't like cookie cutting guys, but I think these 3 things you need to do in order to be to be successful. You need to be on time. You need to have good direction. You need to control the zone and control your zone. So control the strike zone and control the zone that you do the damage with. Those are the 3 things I really believe in. And then from there, you can work mechanically and all that stuff. But if you're not on time, you don't have good direction, you might as well be playing soccer. You got no chance. So that's what I really believe in.
Love it. Hey, when you talk about getting on time, is that like you're coaching the concept of contact point there, or is it more guys have such elaborate,
Yeah, for me, what I've seen a lot is that guys today have so many different moving pieces. They go to so many different people to hit instead of just getting the foot down, getting back into a strong position with your hands and separation at the same time and when it should be. And they struggle. I've seen a lot of guys struggle with that. And to me, when your hands don't get down to your hands don't get loaded when that front foot's in the ground, you got nothing to hit against and your hands can't go.
Love that. Really good. Justin, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, just like my intro, mine's definitely catching the backstop, the batteries behind there. I really enjoy that being creative with guys, especially now and how everything, it seems like everybody's got like so much going on. Being creative with the guys back there, creating a culture, getting them to buy into something, but not being like cheesy, I guess is weird. And then daily preparation, like getting a little bit of something, whether it's all facets of the game behind the dish, and creating relationships with the pitching staff. I mean, that's number one, but making sure that the guys every day get a little bit of touch of receiving, a little bit of touch of blocking, a little bit of mobility, like having them to create their own preparation so they know what they need to do to kind of get themselves ready come game day. Just there to facilitate, but then obviously adding in a creative piece and maybe mix in some yoga, some stuff that'll get them to kind of like light up a little bit and say,
Yeah.
we're going to buy into this little culture a little bit. So that's stuff that I really find extremely enjoyable.
Love it. Hey, so when you were catching, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm going to make this assumption that when you were catching, it was back in the day where there's two stances, nobody on base, runner on base. And, we were taught that, you kind of get on the inside of your feet when there's no one on base. So you can kind of really sink in there and handle the low pitch. But back in that day, catchers really didn't do an awesome job with the bottom of the strike zone. So if you could go back in time and give yourself the opportunity to use some of these different stances that are, have kind of modernized the position, do you have a favorite, or do you think you would have been a guy with like 5 different stances?
So I was hyper flexible. Even like I'm a taller, leaner guy, just naturally. I'm hyper flexible. And I think, I was doing the thing where I was kicking one leg out and sitting on the ground. Like I was already kind of doing that, but showing off. Like I had no idea what I was doing.
Sure.
And I wasn't taught that. But with all the kind of hot topic about right knee down, left knee down, one knee stance, all that kind of stuff, it's so tailored specific to what the athlete is capable of, in my opinion. Like we have a guy on our staff who is just so tight, and we can do everything that we can to try to get him to loosen up, but he's got some limitations. So if I would go back in time, I was hyper flexible, so I would probably try to work on my arm path better, because my arm was always something, and that's something I'm very passionate about now, is my arm path and my arm slot and all that kind of stuff. So it's so athlete focused that
sure.
And I have guys that catch out of a one knee. I have guys that catch out of a hybrid, so they're one knee down sometimes, and then they're in a normal secondary. It all just kind of depends on what they like, and getting them to buy into what they think is successful in their mind. So
the guy that you have that's on the stiffer side, I would imagine that a one knee stance can be a game changer for him, because just normal stances, he's so stiff, he's going to be really tall.
Correct.
Yeah.
And working him into a little bit more, keeping him kind of in touch with the mobility side of things. It always helps, because you don't work on your strengths it's great to work on your strengths, but you also want to work on your weaknesses. So I'll have him in bullpens and sessions and stuff like that, catching out of a traditional stance, and he looks kind of like a baby giraffe, all tied up, but hopefully that alleviates that. And then he's like, oh, finally, I can play, I can do my one knee stance. It's all just about comfort. So
yeah, love that. Jeremy, go ahead.
To kind of piggyback on Justin, I want to kind of talk about my passion of catching here. So what he said, as far as a culture, we have a kind of a tight-knit group of catchers here. We built a saying, be a Swiss Army knife, acronym SAC, so be a SAC. We kind of think of it as, we have 3 sayings: durable like stainless steel. So we are the idiots that put the gear on to go back there every day and have guys throw balls in the dirt at us. Ready for anything or everything. So kind of what Justin's saying, have a bunch of different stances in your tool belt. Not everyone catches the same way, but our starter has 4 or 5 different stances. Our backup has 3 or 4. They all receive it a little different. They all use different blocking styles, throwing styles, whatever gets the job done. And that kind of leads into our last kind of rule, and it is no rules, only results. So as Justin was saying, we use a lot of analytics. We have TrackMan here in our ballpark, and using that data along with 643 charts, we're able to use catcher framing metrics, and we'll find out hey, this stance maybe doesn't work for your receiving, or this, that, the other. I don't really care how you block, as long as you get it done. It doesn't have to look pretty, or you don't have to throw pretty. As long as the numbers show that you're getting it done, who am I to say to change it?
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. Hey, so Jeremy, let me ask you this. How, I could see where the TrackMan stuff can really help you help a guy identify how good he's framing the baseball. What about, because, like the old school coach in me really struggles with the one knee down with a runner at third base. And, but I've had people argue that, hey, like maybe that guy's actually better at blocking the baseball from one knee than he is from two knees. Like you're assuming he's not. That's not necessarily true. And that was that I was kind of hit between the eyeballs there. Here's my question. How do you help a guy identify, like, how do you quantify or help me figure out what my best blocking stance is? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you have to do is you got to make your stances actionable. I see
Mhm.
and I'm sure everyone does on social media, guys blocking out of one knee as young as 10, 11 years old. But it's easy to do it when you're doing a drill where you're blocking.
Mm.
But you got to do it at a high speed plus, and you got to do it in a random fashion. And if you can't get it done in that sense, then you can't translate it to the game. So yeah, being able to block out of a one knee stance, whether right knee, left knee, hybrid stance, whatever, is great. But if you can't translate it to the game, then we're gonna have to make some adjustments.
Yeah, fair enough. Channing, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm the infield coach, but my passion is hitting. Just to piggyback, my first thing is knowing thyself. If you know yourself, you're gonna be able to repeat yourself and fix yourself. I'm not gonna be there 24/7 as much as I'd like to be, but when you move on and stuff, if you know your swing, you're gonna be able to fix it and feeling your stuff. The second thing is landing a good position on time, consistent position on time. Being in the ground with good posture. If you can repeat that, then you have a lot more time to success your swing. And then
Mhm.
I think the mechanics fall out. If you're in a good position, you have a good chance. And the last thing is doing damage. I trying to do damage with good pitch and stuff, and that's three things I go for. Essentially hitting. I could talk hitting all day, but that's like the top three
That's
things.
awesome. Hey,
Main
let me
things.
ask you a
Yeah.
follow-up question on know thyself, because
Yes.
it's funny. I'm no longer coaching except for a
Mhm.
fantasy football team that's terrible. And but I just bought Matt Degg's book, The Pack, that breaks down. It's not, well, so far I'm probably a tenth of the way into it, but it
Mhm.
talks about defined roles and those types of things. And it's I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I think Matt Deggs is a phenomenal offensive
Yeah.
coach, but like
Yes.
I wanted to read the book, but it's when I hear you say know thyself, I think my brain goes in two places. Like, I loved what you said. Like, if you don't really, really know your swing, how are you going to fix it in the middle of competition? But then there's
Mhm.
also the part about identity. When you say know thyself, is that more like, hey, the physical movements you're going to make, like that's what you mean, or more the identity, or is it maybe a
Uh,
blend?
Essentially both. Like when you're preparing yourself, you need to know like what am I doing wrong. If
Hmm.
you're doing your early work by yourself, knowing what you're doing, and then in game, you're adjusting in between pitches, every pitch. What I'm saying, like, you're not really thinking swing thoughts during the game, but it's like, okay, might need to get in a different position or something. I feel myself jumping at the ball or whatever. So it's like in a practice swing, get in your back hip or whatever you have to do essentially to
Yep.
fix that. But yeah,
Love
Matt
that.
Deggs, his teams, we played against him when I was at Lamar, Sam Houston. Those
Right.
guys can hit. Those guys can hit, man.
Yeah, that
Yeah, very good.
2014 ULL team is just a joke. I
Yeah,
mean,
that.
number one in the
Mhm.
nation out of the Sun Belt. Crazy. So
Yeah, yeah.
very good. Speaking of crazy baseball purchases that my wife can't figure out, that book was $50, and I'm so glad I bought it. So glad I sold my wife on that. Now I'll give you one, Trey. Baseballism. If you guys have ever bought those T-shirts, Baseballism has a great Pittsburgh Pirate jersey that says Clemente across. That's the next thing my wife's gonna be I'm gonna be picking at her about. But anyway, that said, and Jenny listens to these podcasts, so gosh, why did I give that away? Shoot. All right, Trey, go ahead. I'm assuming you're going to talk pitching, but don't let me pigeonhole you. You can go anywhere you want.
Yeah, actually, being a pitcher, I get the privilege of coaching catchers and getting to give the pitcher's perspective. So just like some of the other guys on um, our podcast here, is like catching is definitely my passion now. But I think teaching in general is definitely where I thrive, and just love the game and love coaching because I get to teach every day and be around guys that want to learn. And I think in today's culture, or being around other coaches that maybe have a deficit mindset where they think, well, these kids today, they're so soft. I love reaching to those kids and having that asset-based mindset and turning those guys into odd beaters, and working with those guys to provide controlled intervention and working through data to make sure that we're giving them a good diet of what they need to work on their deficits to turn those into strengths. And I think that's the biggest enjoyment that I get out of coaching and teaching. And catching, and as a lot of the guys know on this, catching is by far the most rewarding position to coach, because you just see the servitude that those guys provide every day to their teammates. And seeing that servitude and that selflessness is just contagious and pretty joyful and blessed to be around.
Love that. Hey, well, I've never heard it described that way, Trey, but I love that asset versus deficit piece. It's funny. One year I was at Arizona State, we had Bob Welch, the late Bob Welch, Cy Young, won 27 games one year in a big league season. And he used to give our players a hard time about film watching. And he'd say, you guys just go into that film room and just start beating yourselves up. Like, this game will take care of that for you. You don't need to beat yourself up. Like, the game will handle that for you. Like, if you want to go in there and watch film and get excited about yourself, that's one thing. But has that been your experience? Is that guys tend to be so hyper focused on what they're not good at that getting them to concentrate on their strengths that's half the battle?
Yeah, I mean, that's when I coached Cooper Hummel, who was here, who's now in the 40-man with the Diamondbacks.
Nice.
That was his biggest piece. He was, with social media, it's so easy. That's a tendency, right? We can go look at our flaws, look at what we're not good at, because I can't retake this and redo this and make it just how I want. So the tendency is I'm going to go look at film. I'm going to go look at all the flaws and pick it apart. And, having guys have a great structure and routine and have controlled failure and appropriate levels of stressors so that when they do fail, they know what to do with that failure is crucial. And that was crucial for Coop too.
That's awesome. Hey, last one for you, Trey, on this topic. Totally unrelated. When you pitched, what was your arsenal? What was your best pitch?
Oh, I was a sinker slider guy. And then,
nice.
Yeah, until I wasn't.
That's the way pitching works. Oh, that's great. All right, boys, let's go whipping around next round. TC, coming to you. I want you to give me, so here's the analogy. You guys are going to be head coaches someday. And what we're doing as assistant coaches is we're journaling, right? And we're saying, hey, the program I'm in now has got 5 pillars that I love. They're coming with me. Hey, there's opponents I've seen that I love the way they do X. I want that to come with me when I run my own program someday. I'll give you an example. Never coached with Matt Deggs. Let's stay with him. But that ULL, that Louisiana Lafayette team 2014, it felt like all 9 position players were 5'10" or 11, 190 pounds. They all look like really good high school, like free safety running backs. They hit a ton of doubles. They all stole bases, and they could all bunt for a hit. And I mean, they played with an energy and aggressiveness, a freedom, and it was just this chaotic offense that just overwhelmed defenses. So that's what I'm looking for, an aspect of an opponent that you played against as a player, you've coached against, that you feel like, dang, I love the way they do X. Go ahead, TC.
The first one that comes to mind is Tennessee. We played them last year at UNC Greensboro. We played them in Tennessee, and the way everyone in that program, from their baseball ops guy to the last guy in the bullpen, they walked around with this sort of confidence, and their culture they had was something I haven't really seen before in too many other programs. And the way they just walked around about their business, they were down 5 runs and they walked around like, yeah, all right, we're winning this game. We got 4 innings left. Let's put 2 in here and we'll score 3 in the next one after that. The way Coach Vitello's got them going right there was impressive to me.
Oh, I love that. You know what's interesting is I'm not comparing Tony Vitello to Augie Garrido. I don't want to do that to him. That's an unfair comparison. But I will tell you that I agree with that observation, TC, 100%. And it reminds me a little bit of Augie Garrido, where when you played a Texas or Fullerton team when Augie was there was just you better really beat them, because there's just that swagger matters. Gosh, that's a great pull. Oh, good job. Very good. Justin, go ahead.
Yeah, so I thought it was pretty cool a couple of years ago, and haven't played them, haven't seen them play in person, but watching Michigan kind of make their run late, and just stuff that we did with fit, like kind of like when you make a role and change from playing to coaching, you get all the little minute details that coaches do to try to expose people, whether it's like for me, it was watching them and how successful and how they had to flip it with the guys on like the fake steals and like how they added that into their arsenal, and it just created a little bit of like havoc on the base pass, and watching how a team out of the Big Ten can go into a College World Series and make a run like that with executing kind of the small minute sides of the game, whether it's the hit and run, the safety squeeze, all that kind of stuff, and playing that throughout the year. Getting those guys to buy into doing that, I know was probably so hard. So I really respected that out of that run for sure.
Yeah, it's a great call. I just think with the way Eric Bakich of Michigan runs their program, it's a very intellectual style of program building. I mean, they're just they're insightful is the word I'd say. Yeah, that's excellent. Oh, very good. Jeremy, go ahead.
The program that comes to mind is Southern Miss and what Scott Barry's got going on down there in Hattiesburg. We were down there last year, and obviously the atmosphere he's got there is unbelievable, and what he's doing in Conference USA is unmatched. But I thought with how they were strong up the middle, their catcher, their shortstop, their center fielder, and then probably arguably the top 5 rotation in the country, like they all just seemed very ball player-ish, if you guys know what I mean. They walked a different way. They addressed the plate different ways, and I think that's probably a reason why Scott's got something good going on there in Hattiesburg, is he's so strong up the middle with his program, and that's something I know in my own novice values, like that's what I believe in, and just seeing that up close and personal and seeing their postseason success speaks volumes.
That's awesome. Hey, was that's Hattiesburg is on my bucket list. Is that a hard place to play? Like, did you find like for your players like that crowd is what's the atmosphere like playing there?
I didn't get a chance to experience Arkansas as a part of the staff with our relationship with them and postseason play, but being at Hattiesburg was like the closest thing that everyone was saying it was. I mean, every game we played, it was postseason atmosphere, 5,000 people. There's 10-year-olds cussing at you as the first base coach. I mean, got people, the people in the bullpen yelling at our guys in the bullpen. I mean, it was an unbelievable atmosphere, and it was, I mean, even though we didn't play our best down there, it was just something sweet to be a part of.
That's awesome. Yes, 2015 Super Regional, Matt Hall inciting the Fayetteville 15,000 fans. That was showed a lot of gumption. Not sure it was the smartest move in the world, but God bless him, he beat him. So to the victor.
That's very Halsey right there. That's for sure.
That was so great. Channing, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with it's a very easy one to go with, but it's LSU. So my junior year at Lamar, we played LSU my first week of baseball, D1 baseball, and our coach just came because he's gonna be the head coach the year after. Will Davis just came a month before, and so they came in at Lamar because that was our coaches last year. And man, the way they did their attention to detail and like BP and stuff, like they're base running, they're sliding head first in the third base, full reps completely, and then the game, they go up 8. Just the way they walked in the field, like they're like we were saying, like the middle was just incredible. I mean, it's athletic. They can do everything, and as obviously like a LSU can recruit all that stuff, but just the way they just handled everything, and it was fun. I mean, it was just fun to watch, and we played them every year. So, but that was at home, and just the way they came into our field is just different. It was just different, but they did everything. They could run, but just their attention to detail in the batting practices. I will never forget the way they ran bases, and it was just incredible. It was incredible.
That's awesome. Yeah, Paul Maneri, won a national championship, went to Omaha a zillion times. He's very underrated. Like his coaching acumen, he's a very, very good coach. That's an excellent pull. Coach Watt, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I think the program that comes to my mind is Gonzaga, and it's a program that we're very familiar with. But they're basically what guys have said here is their knowledge of themselves and being true to who they are and knowing themselves as ball players and being disciplined to that is pretty phenomenal. They're very disciplined to their approach. It's very hard to get them off of their approach. They're very well coached as well. And their attention to detail in all aspects is pretty phenomenal as well. So that program, I think, went a long ways because of that attention to detail. So.
Yeah, extremely well coached. That's a great one. Very good. All right, boys, let's try to sneak a couple more lightning rounds in here. So, you guys are going for a job this summer, and I'm running the search committee, and I'm gonna make 3 phone calls. I'm gonna do a background check on you. So I want your 3 references. Who do you want me to call? Who are the 3 people you want me to call to learn more about you? Coach Conley, go ahead.
The first one would be Jeff Johnson at Chipola. I spent 2 years down there with him, and he taught me everything, not everything, but a lot of what coaching is to me now.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that for him. Second one would be Billy Godwin at UNC Greensboro. I was with him for a year. Awesome guy. I think the world of him. I can't pick one of these 3, so I'm going to just give you all 3.
Please.
Mark Scaff, former head
Yeah.
coach at UNCW. Great dude. Randy Hood, current head coach. He gave me the job here. Same thing. And then Matt Williams at Liberty, because I don't think I would be where I am if he didn't make a couple phone calls for me to get started. So those 5 guys.
Gosh, that's great, man. I mean, TC, I know you know this, but I'm saying it out loud because it's my brain. Man, you've been around some good baseball people.
I've been blessed.
That's awesome. Oh, awesome. Very good. Justin, go ahead.
Yeah, so definitely Kent Bonfield, who's still at Palm Beach Atlantic. I mean, I was there for 8 years as a coach and then 4 years as a player, so I was there for 12 years total. I think he knows me pretty well. Be a good character reference for sure, and just his knowledge and his ties to Major League Baseball and stuff. Jim Chester, for as late as I took this job up here, end of August, and making that switch and getting up here to Gardner Webb, for sure. He would definitely be one to. I mean, if you're going to take a shot on someone that late after a phone call and a text for a response from a Twitter post, that's pretty special. And probably the last one would be the assistant that's at PBA is Beau Mcmillan, highly connected guy from played at Lynn University, played with the Marlins for a little bit, and him and I were colleagues for about 7 years before this, and he's the absolute man. So
love it.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. Go Sailfish. That's great. Love it. Very good. Yeah. Jeremy, go ahead.
Just like Terrence said, it's hard to just pick 3, but my number 1 would be the legend himself, Keith Gutten, head coach here. Hard to pass up a guy who has 1,300 career victories as your number 1 reference. I'd run through a brick wall through that guy, and I hope he hears that because I would.
Love it.
My next one would be close friend Jeff Jimenez. Always been a mentor of mine. He was a GA here, helped me get here, and now he's AA coach in the Mariners organization. And last one would be Matthew Carpenter, as the associate head coach at Avila. He's kind of been we've been through the ups and the downs together at a small school, and knows me really well, and has been a champion of me for as long as I can remember. So those would be definitely my 3.
Awesome. Very cool. Channing, go ahead.
Here we go. Yeah, my first one would be my boss right now, Justin Johnson. Great guy. He knows what I do and stuff every single day. He's a great guy. My second one would be George Horton. I was fortunate enough to coach with him at OCC for that COVID year. Just a mentor for me. I could call him anytime, and he's just making a lot of calls for me. Same thing. It's kind of tough. Nate Johnson, the head coach at OCC, coached me when I was there, and then I was coaching for him the last 2 years. And I mean, I got to throw in Jesse Zapata he was at Long Beach State and Cal Baptist. I actually worked with him with the Dodgers this summer, so I got to know him very well, and he actually helped me out with the UC Riverside job as well. So
love it.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's it. Coach Horton. I've been on the wrong end of a lot of games with Coach Horton. He is remarkable.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'd always been around fiery, that different personality coaches. And then you wonder, hey, can I be that? And then you coach against George Horton, who different style, but man, national championship winner. So,
he knows exactly what he's doing. Great.
Man,
absolutely.
The commish. Yeah, he's great.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
Trey, go ahead.
Yeah, mine is Jeff Loomis would be my first one, who I'm currently working for. Scott Brocious and Alan Embry. who happened to be my pitching coach when I was the head coach of the Bend Elks in the West Coast League.
No way. Alan Embry was your assistant coach when you were coaching in the WCL?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And Scott Brocious, how'd you get connected to him?
Through when he was at Linfield, he recruited me, and then also we've stayed in touch, and just talking through USA baseball stuff, and we live really close to each other as well.
Oh, that's beautiful. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Final one. Give me a player to watch in 2022 in your current program. It could be your best player. It could be a player from your position group. Could be a player that you just feel like, as a breakout candidate. You can go anywhere you want with this. No wrong answers. Player to watch in 2022. TC, go ahead.
I'm still fairly new to the staff, so I'm still trying to
that's
learn
right. Really
everyone
new.
and see what they're doing. But I think Noah Bridges, his 5th year, I think he's going to he's always had okay years. I think he's going to break out this year. I think
center fielder, right?
Center fielder. I think he's matured a lot, and he's got a better mindset with how he's going about his business. I think he's got a chance to be special.
Good call. Love that. Justin?
Yeah, we got an absolute donkey on the mound who somehow grew another inch over break. He's about 6'6" now. It's crazy. And he runs it anywhere from 94 to 97, Bobby Alcock. And he's an oaf, but that dude can throw a baseball extremely hard. And he's a Tom House project. And
nice.
He was a Division III player, transferred to Gardner Webb, I believe last year. And even when I got there in the fall, he was 90 to 91. And he's just, it's insane watching this kid develop. So
awesome. Will he be on the front end or the back end for you guys, or to be determined?
To be determined.
Yep.
Hopefully be a Friday guy for us. But yeah, we'll see.
Love it. Jeremy.
Too many guys here to pick from, but the guy I'd pick is Drake Baldwin, starting catcher, junior, second team All MVC last year, All-Star in the Northwoods this past year. Personally, I think he'll be on the Johnny Bench watch list. He is out by far one of the best guys I know, hard worker, but he from Madison, Wisconsin, has a little hockey player in him, incredible eye coordination, great hands, bat to ball skills off the charts, and he's just starting to learn to hit for power. So it's going to be fun to watch him this spring.
Really cool. Go ahead, Channing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with our shortstop, Anthony Mata. He's a sophomore. Came in last year as a freshman, led our team in conference in hitting. Just really raw kid. He's growing. He's a really skinny kid. Now he's getting stronger. Developing a lot. Can really run, field, throw. He does it all. But he's going to be a big part of our team as long as he stays healthy. He's going to help us big time. He's going to be a very good player one day. Yeah.
Very good. Coach Watt, wrap us up.
Yeah, Caleb Franson's going to be a great player for everybody to watch in our program. Left-handed arm for us.
And front end or back end for you guys?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not important enough to be part of those conversations.
You don't get to make that decision. That's right.
We just catch him.
That's right. What year is he?
Let's see. COVID sophomore.
Got it. So 3rd year in the program, 2nd year. Yep.
Yeah, from Westland, Oregon. Yep.
Oh, that's great. Very good. Gentlemen, well done. It has happened 17 times, but we've been talking for going on 59 minutes, and it went super, super fast. So before I forget, I want to say thanks to the folks at Netting Pros. These guys are tremendous. They love college baseball. They're great at what they do. So I want to encourage everyone to support them. They're also sponsoring us with our top 25 this year. Really appreciate the guys at Netting Pros, Will Miner and that whole crew. They're just awesome in every single way. And, I just want to say thanks to these guys. Thanks to the 4th coaches from all 17 conversations. This, for me personally, it's been a blast. I've gotten so much great feedback that people that are college baseball fans have loved hearing from you guys and loved hearing your stories and kind of learning about you on the front end of your careers. So really appreciate that. That is it. You're welcome, Mr. Gibson. So I can't say see you next Sunday because we're done. We're going to take the season off because we all have a lot to concentrate as we go get on the road to Omaha here. But my goal is to do this again next fall because this has been great. So appreciate you guys. I hope we stay in touch. We got our text thread going. I really do want to stay in touch. Good luck this season. And that's it. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to the guys at Helium for helping us produce this. You guys have been great. And that is it. We will catch you next time. Have a good night, everybody.